Hello, everybody. Welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee, and it's me, Oberon, with my outlook on the emotional exchanges. And woe is you, I have decided to try a new format. So here we go. It's going to be pretty interesting. Testing 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, the Banshee chair is vacant. I'm on my own, but who knows? Maybe that's a slight foreshadowing of things to come. At any rate, I think I'm shuffled up pretty good here. So I would like to start with my reading for the Universal Love Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. As usual, how are you doing? This reading is for Friday, and that's the 22nd. You know, I filmed these ahead of time, so I have to recalculate. All the way to next Thursday, which would be the 28th. If you haven't watched it, please watch our monthly modality message. It was on a couple of days ago. The sun has moved into Gemini. What does that mean for each of the modality signs? Check it out. All right, here we go with our reading. Love is the universal energy that fills creation. This energy is alive and intelligent. Love has heard your call. You will soon connect with your soulmate. Focus your attention on love. Spend some time each day imagining yourself together. See the future filled with happiness and love. And if you are already with your soulmate, the message here is to always value and be grateful for your relationship. Relationships, like everything, need constant nurturing, care, and attention. Your relationship will continue to grow and strengthen provided it is nurtured. All right, so once again, that is from Tony Carmine Salerno. Soulmate. All right. So I said we're going to do something new with the reading, and what I have decided to do is alter the reading again. We were doing it differently, but now I'm going to go back to an older form, and the older form was based on your elemental association. So I'm going to go through the elemental signs of the Zodiac. Fire, air, water, earth. I'm not sure what order I'm doing them in. Oh, I should know this by now, right? I think it's air. Air, I am. Okay, so air, fire, water, and earth. So air signs are, of course, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And what I'm going to do is, I want to do something, once again, it's a foreshadowing, but I want to do something closer to the way Banshee does her readings. She will just throw a certain amount of cards out there, and then that's what the reading is for the week. So I'm going to do something like that. Normally I have a specific idea behind each position, like this card means something about your past, or that kind of thing. So let's see how I do here with that. With the air signs, once again, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. And like I said, I'm just going to throw them out. So, air signs. There's something going on here. It's kind of like this is the time for you to really think about who it is you need to take care of, and this may be a lot more about, you know, people you're already connected to, not somebody you're involved in, you know, a relationship with necessarily. But I think the Queen of Pentacles says this is time for you to think about who's important in your life and to maybe give them a little bit of nurturing or extra care. And so it may not be about a new relationship if you're wondering about that, but that's coming at the end here. So the next two cards are reversed fours, and the first one is the Four of Pentacles reversed. And I think this is saying this really is the time for you air signs to give more, especially of your heart, but maybe in other ways too, that you might need to be more supportive in material ways as well. And the reversed Four of Cups, well, I think this is something that maybe you have to acquire a taste for it in a way, because I think either it's something you should have been doing and maybe it's kind of like, bam, you know, why haven't you been doing this? Or it's something you're going to be leaning into even more and more as the future goes on. All right, so I promised something a little bit different, hint, hint, and I'm going back to another form that we had, which was we would look at the potential of who's going to get lucky. But I've revised that a little bit. And so that just means anything. Who's going to be lucky in a relationship? That means a relationship that already exists or a relationship that could exist. And it means no strings attached if you're already in one or not. It's the same difference. So what I've done is I've taken the Urban Tarot and I've isolated the court cards of that deck. And so I will pull a court card, and depending on the energy there, I will give an idea about which of the air signs, it's only one card, which of the air signs will be lucky. I have a way of doing this that I think is unique. Okay, so we're talking about three air signs. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. But I have pulled, oops, I did this wrong. This is the first time I'm doing it, so give me a break. Whichever of the air signs has some sort of Leo connection, maybe in their moon sign or somewhere in their chart, maybe it's their rising sign, maybe it's their Mercury, maybe it's their Venus. But that is who could get lucky. But it could be kind of twisty because it's reversed, and I don't know how much I want to speculate on that. All right. So that was, of course, the air signs, and we're going to move on to our good friends, the fire signs. Fire signs. Aries, like somebody never stops reminding me, she's an Aries. Leo or Sagittarius. What's going on for you in the week ahead? Fire signs. Page of Wands suggests an invitation or some sort of communication going on with you guys and someone else. And, you know, maybe that'll be what happens with the Urban Tarot at the end here. But so maybe you're got a letter or communication. Somebody wants to get to know you better kind of thing. But it's the Seven of Wands. It is upright. But the Seven of Wands says that maybe this is about you really taking charge of something too. So maybe in a way, if somebody is trying to get you to be more assertive, I think is what it is. And when I look at the Ten of Wands reversed, in addition to it, somebody feels like you now have a sense of freedom, fire signs. You have maybe moved to a more accessible kind of stage. And so I wouldn't be surprised, fire signs, if maybe somebody has been feeling like they want you to make an overture, or they're going to make an overture to you because they sort of feel like the timing is right. Just look at that. Which of the fire signs might get lucky? Again, using the Urban Tarot. And this only refers to an astrological aspect within the fire signs chart. I can only give general guidance. Like I said, I'm not really an astrologer. I'm just kind of, and this is my first run of this, but I'm kind of faking it in a way. I'll just say that. And oh my God, maybe it is the astrology, because once again, it's the Princess of Wands. Only she's upright this time. And like I mentioned, I sort of get this Leo kind of energy there, the dancer. You know, wands are fire, and I just sort of feel this way that it could be something else that maybe has that aspect of fire to it. I'm trying astrologically to figure it out. I might have to look into it a little bit more. I mean, it's fire with fire, so you know where the fire signs have not only, you know, the fire is their main element because of their sun sign, but if they also have it as a rising or moon sign, we call that, you know, a double fire sign perhaps, or for example, it could be a double Aries or something like that. Anyway, this sort of is the idea of who will get lucky, is somebody who has extra fire in their normal chart. All right, so I'm just going to leave it at that for the fire signs. And we will now move on to the water signs. And water signs are, of course, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Back at you, Banshee. Please do let me know if you like the new reading format. I'm going to probably do it at least 2 more times before I decide I'm comfortable with it. I probably will only tweak a little bit. I think I just got to get a little more comfortable with it. All right, so we are on the water signs. Problems here maybe, because when I look at that first card, the Nine of Swords is reversed. That's actually kind of good. That maybe is saying that maybe you've been able to understand a situation you felt was bringing stress and anxiety and even making you lose sleep over it. And the thing is you realize at some point that maybe you really didn't need to go there. You didn't really need to take on all of this in a way. You know, you just were trying to be a good friend perhaps. But the Empress there says that now I think is the time for you to maybe really take care of yourself. And the Empress says there are many ways you can be productive. You can create something right now. And you need to maybe move away from a really anxious period and maybe stressful period and unleash some creativity in yourself. And you may look at me and you say, oh, Mr. O, I'm not creative. I don't know how to sew. I don't know how to draw. I can't sing, you know, something like that, whatever. But there is a niche for you. There is a way you are creative. Maybe you just have to think about it more. In the meantime, maybe what you need to do is something unusual for yourself. So find a place where maybe you can do light volunteer work. Volunteer at a hospital or at a library or somewhere where maybe they accept volunteers, and do it just for 1 or 2 hours a week. You don't really have to do it a whole lot, but just try to sample and get a sense of where you could be creative. I mean, truly, if you are, you know, kind of not sure what to do something like that. Think out of the box. Maybe there are other examples. But finally, though, we are looking there at the King of Swords reversed, the King of Mirrors reversed. And I think emotionally speaking, you're really still worried. You have released some stress, but you still have some hang-ups here. And part of it is that you really have doubt you're moving in the right direction. And I get the feeling that this isn't about relationships necessarily, but I think you feel sort of alone here, and you sort of feel like what you do mostly just matters to you, and maybe that empowers you to make some bad decisions, and you need to think about that, because maybe that's the circle or the feedback loop. Is the bad decisions are what cause some of that anxiety buildup. But who of the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, will possibly get lucky? Who will that be? Well, at least it's not the Princess of Wands again, but with a cause. Or is it a rebel without a cause? All right, so we are on Earth signs then. our final elemental grouping, and earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. What's going on with you guys? Here we go, earth signs. Nine of Pentacles. All right, so once again, my recording didn't work out right. So I'm just going to kind of summarize what I saw here. I think that the earth signs will find this is a really good week for them. You're able to really go it alone if you want, the Nine of Pentacles or Nine of Rings there. The World card suggests you really have resolved everything that needs to happen and you're ready to move on to the next thing. So once again, there's both of those cards just indicate a lot of feeling good, successful, complete. That's the word I'm looking for, completed in a way. And the final card is the Magician. It's called the Producer here. But these cards are all upright too, and they kind of indicate your control, your ability to really make it all happen for you, especially from the sense of a romantic thing. Really feel like they care one way or the other if they have a relationship. So if you are not in a relationship, you may not necessarily be interested in a relationship. You feel really secure under yourself. You feel comfortable. If you are in a relationship, then you probably share this with someone. And then the next card, the World, the Fan, says you have really reached earth signs what you want, whether it is the one thing or that other that I've talked about. And then finally, leading to the Magician, you tend to realize that, this is really what you've been working at all along, that you as the Magician, the Sorcerer, in here they call it the Producer, you are in control of your own fate. You have total power over your powers, over your willpower, over your creativity, over how much you let belief allows you to manifest. So that's really what it's all about, and are you going to be lucky? Well, do you really care? Earth signs, you seem to have more than everyone else has at this point in life. So let's look at the Urban Tarot one last time. And remember, this is my approximation of astrological idea here, so I'm not sure exactly if I'm totally right. But so we are talking about the earth signs, and those are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Did I say that right before? I don't even remember. And boy, we sure get a lot of reversed core cards for the draw. So it's the reversed Knight of Swords. So it's an air quality. Hold on. I'm sorry about that. You'll have to I have to apologize. Swords represent other air signs. So somebody who has a moon, who has a rising sign or moon sign that is an air sign, such as Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini, but are in fact a earth sign, you are the ones who are most likely to get lucky. All right. And as further clarification, it's the what is that? The Game Master reversed. So it's actually somebody who doesn't like to play games. It's maybe somebody who's a little bit more practical minded and they roll easy. There's a sense here with this card, it's the Knight, so there's a sense of movement here. And in terms of the Urban Tarot and the feel that I get here, this earth sign who has some air in their chart, they're happy-go-lucky in a way. And so if they're not in charge of the game, if they're not winning at the game, they don't mind so much. They're willing to roll with it. And they might be a good person to get lucky with, especially for, what can I say, the earth sign who has everything. All right. And so once again, this is Oberon with the emotional exchanges. Stay tuned for tomorrow's happy hour. Happy hour will be on its normal time, even though it's a holiday weekend. We're having the happy hour at 10 a.m. It's normal time. So check for that. It's a one card reading of divine positive message for everybody in the chat room. Check it out. Sunday morning we'll have Banshee's Material Matters. That's also at 10 o'clock. And it is a premiere, so you may join us in the chat room and we will chat about the reading and everything else. And then catch us later live Sunday afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. for our regular live stream. All right, everybody. Oberon here saying take care. Bye-bye.